Thank you both for joining us, and Ed, especially because you've got a bit of a sevens tournament going on yourself as well.
We do.
So let's just jump straight into it. Let's get some introductions. Who are you? What do you do? And what are the main partnerships you're involved in?
Well, hi everyone. It's great to see such a fantastic turnout in the room at this brilliant event. What a great location, and in Hong Kong in general, right? For the sevens, the buzz is just here. It's really exciting. At Cathay, I think everyone knows the roller coaster is the wrong metaphor, but we don't want to say the plane's been going up and down. That's a worse thing to say. But we've been on a journey, and I just think it's very validating that we're back, and so that's wonderful. So who am I? So I'm Ed Bell, and I've been working with Cathay for 7 years now, and I've been in the region between China and Hong Kong for 20-something years. I'm originally from Australia, and marketing background, and I'm just the guy responsible for the marketing team at Cathay globally, I guess.
And a Cycling Stingray's dad.
And a Cycling Stingray's dad. My boy is playing on Sunday morning.
Now Robbie mentioned earlier that this is very important for Sports Matters, that the Cycling Stingrays under-14s girls had lost that morning, but the under-14s boys won.
They did.
So let's just get that out at Sports Matters. Alex, who are you?
Hi. Thanks for having me, Jasper. I'm Alex von Etzdorf. I work for the Great Entertainment Group, and I am also the venue programming manager. Hi. I'm the venue and programming manager for the AIA Vitality Hub, which is this phenomenal space that we have down, just sitting underneath the Hong Kong Observation Wheel, and we run classes and events all year round, and that's me.
Well, we're going to dig deeper into that. So, but Ed, we're going to start with you. How important is, this is all about partnerships, but how important are partnerships to Cathay, and why sport?
Yeah, I'll start with the second one first. I was just thinking the other day, I was listening to one of these podcasts. They're talking about how digital has ruined our children. Certainly half ruined mine, I think. But I think it's really quite interesting at the time where, in this time of life where we're all spending, us and our kids and everyone we know, spending so much time on platforms, I don't think it's disconnected that we're seeing this resurgence of the importance of sport. I think for all of us in the business of marketing sport and running these things is to understand that link, because I think within Cathay and the sevens in Hong Kong, I've been at Cathay long enough. When we first ran the sevens, we're wondering this, is it really that important for us? Does it put more bums on seats? And I think, I'm not sure, there was the level of the commitment, to the sevens. It seemed like there was this thing that the Guilos did off on the side. But if you look at it today, I think it's just totally transformed. And I'm asking myself, why is that? I think what's really happening around the world is that with digital fragmenting our lives more and more, live sport is one of the few things that brings everyone together. It brings communities together, it brings your customers together, and it brings companies together, it brings staff together. And I just think it's so hard to bring people together these days. Sport is that. I think the second thing that makes sport so compelling now in this era of nepotism and influence, sport is the last great meritocracy. And I think that's why it rises up and it speaks truth. When you watch sport, you're seeing truth at play. And it's just so, I find it's quite refreshing to see that. So I think that's why sport, more than ever, despite the challenges of digital media and endless loops that go on forever, and you're 3 a.m, you're in your bed, you're still watching this stuff. We're living in that world, but what sport does, it compels attention. So I think what we've done is that we look at sport now as through these different lenses. One is it's a way to give back. It's a way to focus on the younger generations. For an airline, obviously the front of the plane is really important to us, but that's why we need to counterbalance with the younger people who maybe are not necessarily in the front of the plane. I think it's important for all brands to hedge. But it's also for us, it's also a way to bring people together, as I said, bring the communities together, and it's a way to encourage that kind of meritocracy in everything that we do. So the partnerships we have are, with the Hong Kong China Rugby Union, it's become quite strategic for us on so many levels. We have so many government ministers in our suite that we've never had before. I mean, it's just transformed the role that it plays. We're working with the Paul and Cook charitable schools. That's one thing that we've changed in the way that we do the rugby union partnership, just to be very visible about, from there down to here. And we know we had another partnership. It's not a sporting partnership with the West Kowloon Authority, but we're always looking for those other ways that we can kind of give back through sport.
And we've got the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens logo behind. How do you activate something like the Sevens?
Yeah, it's through a lot of different layers. We have the ads and the communication that goes out, but it's actually through all these other layers as well. We go out through the community. Something that's interesting. There's a lot of Western faces in the room, so it's interesting to think about the history of the Sevens in Hong Kong. It was a way of, I think, originally of the continuity of life for English people, and they could have that lifestyle in Hong Kong. And that actually endangered the sport here, I think, for a while. It became something that happened, as I said, on the side. What we've done is that we've actually made a real effort over the past several years to reach out into the Chinese community. And we've done that, I think you may have seen, and that there's a style to the way that we do the Sevens marketing. It's always about, no one does rugby like Hong Kong is our platform. And the point of that is to say the rugby experience in Hong Kong is unique to us. It's the culture, it's all of the richness of Hong Kong, of Chinese culture, blending with this rugby sport, and it creates a unique event. So for example, one of the things we're doing this weekend is recognising that not everyone grew up with rugby, but you can find your own way to enjoy it. If you think about teenage Hong Kong school kids, what do they, if they didn't play rugby, what's their connection? So what we're doing is we're encouraging people to come and treat it as a dress-up, treat it as Halloween at rugby. So we're giving away these badges just to encourage the fun. If you dressed up with a banana on your head, maybe you get a badge, maybe you go on the big screen. So that just brings people in through the culture, and they can find their own way in to enjoy it. So that's one of the examples, maybe outside of the government.
How many Ken and Barbies do you think there's going to be?
I think my son's one of them. A
Barbie,
that is. He's not a Ken.
Stingrays.
Dad would wish him to be a Ken. I think he's...
Final question, then we'll come on to Alex. But what other sports do Cathay get involved in?
Yeah, so it's we're always looking. It's great that the ATP tennis has come back to Hong Kong. So we're desperate to get involved. We think tennis is great for Cathay, and tennis, again, it's just booming like never before. And for anyone, all the sports aficionados in the room, you'll notice that this is the first time in the world that China has 3 men in the top 100, and I think we have 4 women in the top 50. Hong Kong has 1 man in the top 200. So we're into a new era of tennis in China. Given the huge population in China, this is going to be a new force to be reckoned with. Unfortunately, Emirates, a small competitor we have, sponsor everything that moves. So we can't sponsor the tour, but we're interested in sponsoring players. So we're looking to get in through that way. We're also sponsoring this Hong Kong Streetathon. It's one of the 2 street races in Hong Kong, the other one being the Standard Chartered Marathon, of course, which is very competitive. But the Hong Kong Streetathon, it attracts the same number of people. It's just got a different character. It's about participation, and it's more fun. And that's what we want to do. We're not in there to be gold medalists. We just want to say sport is important in life. Come and join in. So that's a big one that we're involved with, and they're probably the major ones we have on right now.
And there's lots of sports agents now in the room getting their business cards ready to come and throw it. You realise you've asked for it.
You're welcome. We love those conversations.
Alex, tell us about the AIA Vitality Hub. How did it happen? What is it? What are you doing there? Look, I mean, it's super, does everyone know what the AIA Vitality Hub is at the big wheel?
So the Vitality Hub came about after the partnership with the Great Entertainment Group and AIA started back in 2014 with the first carnival. And then in 2017, we took the observation wheel, the Hong Kong observation wheel. And from there, because of the partnership between the group and AIA, I think there was an understanding of the need for AIA to branch out with their healthier, longer, better lives and their vitality. And so the concept of the AIA Vitality Hub was born. And from there, we actually opened our first program in November of 2021. Obviously, there was quite a lot that we had to contend with in Hong Kong, whether we were able to run sports, were able to run any events like that. And then we powered through, and in January 2023, we opened the now existing AIA Vitality Hub, which is a space that sits underneath the wheel. And it's been a phenomenal success story. It's something that we are so super proud of, because we went with the concept of offering health, wellness, sport to the people of Hong Kong, and it's free. Everything we do there is free. And on the back of the initial success, we decided to kind of build on what we're doing, and we spread back into the AIA Vitality Park as well. And we bring a lot of events there, and it's a phenomenal success story so far, and what we do and how we can help the brand of AIA to really show that they are part of vitality, they are part of health and wellness in Hong Kong.
And beyond the AIA part, you work with other partners, right? What are the other partnerships that you work with?
I mean, sitting in the room right now, we have a few of our partnerships. We have FluidX, who run by Eileen Wong, and we have Hong Kong School of Capoeira. We have the Netball Hong Kong China. We work with anyone that brings wellness, sport, health into Hong Kong with a positive attitude. And what we are, which is so unique here, is we're a platform for these partnerships to come and be involved in. We've worked with gyms like Pure, the High Rocks Group as well. They've come and done a lot of events with us. Through them, we've worked with F45. So, I mean, the list is endless. It really is.
I remember the carnival. I know you're not the carnival, but there was that wonderful article in Campaign magazine talking about how many partners they had, and it wasn't paid for. It was remarkable.
No, it is remarkable. I mean, I think there were up to almost 400 partnerships that came into the AIA Carnival, and I was involved, and I was involved in the community of sport and wellness there, and again, just the ability to bring what we do in the AIA Vitality Hub and then bring it into the community stage of the AIA Carnival really shows just sort of the trust and the bond with AIA and the partnership that we have there. Yeah.
And what have the challenges been in kind of growing it, scaling it on the harbourfront border?
I mean, I think someone touched on earlier about space, Hong Kong and property, and the space we have can only cater to a certain amount of people, and obviously there are only a certain amount of hours in the day that you can run everything. And the other thing is a great problem to have is once we release the classes, which we do bi-monthly, they fill up because the popularity is there. So it's about how do we balance bringing in new people, but also maintaining this concept of really building people's lives and giving them an opportunity to try sports, try something new, and also succeed at it. We have stories through the space, through the Vitality Hub, where we've actually created champions, because we really want to champion these people. How do you choose them? How, amongst all these wonderful people, all these stories that we have? So that's a good challenge, but it is a challenge. I mean,
it is, if you haven't seen it, it's a remarkable space. I mean, it's a pretty good view as well, right? I mean,
and it's in the Cathay IFE, the pre-roll. Before you watch every movie, for anyone who's probably remember that, you see the eye.
Yeah, you see. I mean, it's
the wheel.
The iconic location of Hong Kong.
It is. It gives a kind of Hong Kong a little face. Actually.
It's not a bad place to go to work every day.
For both of you here, and start with you, Ed, we talk about a lot of partnerships, but what do you think is the secret to building a successful partnership or relationship? What makes it work? What doesn't make it work? And how would Cathay measure success?
Yeah, I do think I've actually struggled with this over the years because I can see Erica in the room, my old colleague from Adidas, who's now Standard Chartered. So, going back to those days in Adidas, I think you have to realise that every partnership, they're all partnerships and they might all be sport, but maybe what they do for you is different. And so you need to, I think, approach each one with a clear mind. What do you want from that particular thing? I don't think you can do a cookie cutter approach. So if you take sevens, in terms of the sheer audience and the cost of putting it on, it's actually quite a heavy sponsorship for us. Just if you look at a lot of sports, the way that sports properties are valued is the visitation and then the media audience. So the media audience for the sevens is really not that huge. They say it's huge. I'm not sure that it's huge. But that's not the value to us. The value to us is about being here. And it's about us kind of walking the talk. It's about being Cathay in Hong Kong and about showing our commitment. The little kids running out. It's about supporting the Hong Kong team and just getting our hands dirty in the local culture. I think that's what you have to do because Hong Kong is our home market. So if you translate those kind of rough vision into KPIs, it becomes a little bit more murky but more real. It's things like, is it a great place where you can have conversations with government stakeholders? Is it a great place where you can bring KOLs and help them to see your airline that's not just sitting in a business class seat? All those things are true. So we measure by the quality of those conversations, who comes, and then we measure the KOLs by the volume that we get through that. And then it's all about also the buzz in the city about whether or not we feel like we're making a difference, and we have ways of measuring that. And then other things that we do, I think, are done in a much more kind of ruthless fashion. Ruthless sounds cruel, but sometimes it's just about are you actually really getting the awareness lift out of it? I mean, if we were going to sponsor an EPL team, which probably doesn't make a lot of sense for us because the centre of action is all the way over there, and we want to bring people here, which is why we've always struggled with that for anyone who's pulling a business card out. But we've had a few of those conversations. But if you're going to front up and pay £10 million a year to be, the strategic partner for Tottenham Hotspur or something, then you've got to have a huge boost in awareness because, if you're a financial brand, all you have to do is get a whale in the room and then they transfer their business to you. Job done. Pays for the partnership. That's not how airlines work. We only make money one seat at a time. So there's no one person who you can bring on that's going to make it rain. So for us, it has to all be about the awareness. The other thing that we look at, because we're an operational brand, if you like, it's also about how we can offset the cost of the partnership through activation. So one of the things we love about the Sevens is that it's Hong Kong's preeminent reason for foreigners to come to Hong Kong as a single event. So 40% of the visitations from overseas. Historically, it's been about 50%. And we know at Hong Kong these days, we're still not back to our normal level. But this event is proving its resilience. It's sold out, which is amazing to me. They're swimming against the tide. And yeah, almost back to historical levels of visitation. So we've got to love that. And that's also the value that it brings. That's us, Cathay, offsetting the cost of the sponsorship because people are flying in to visit us. So, we love things like that.
Well, 40% of the room today is flown in for, maybe for Sports Matters or maybe the Sevens as well.
See you.
Alex, and by the way, on the KOL thing, if I have
You're not a KOL.
8,000 followers on LinkedIn.
Please make him a KOL.
All right, you're a KOL.
Business class?
Influencer.
Alex, same question to you. What is the secret for you for a successful partnership? What makes it work? What doesn't make it work? And how do you measure success?
I think it's also, in our case, I think it's about trust. AIA really trusts what we do, particularly, with all the events we put on. I think that's a key part of it, understanding that we bring an element to the table that perhaps, an insurance company wouldn't. And just the communication as well. We are, really transparent with how we how we approach the next 6 months, next 12 months. What does that look like? Where are the benefits? And then take that on board and then make sure that we're always reminding ourselves of what the brand needs. But also, because we're on the ground doing the work for them, it gives them the opportunity to see what the people want back and the community wants back. And, you know, talking to what you're saying, we're not quite there in Hong Kong yet, but if we reach out to the community and we actually understand that, you know, we go beyond just sponsoring elite athletes or elite teams and really understanding what the people need, because people want to learn, they want to be able to have the opportunity to have accessibility to sport, to wellness, to health and all that stuff. And if we're able to give it, that gives the trust, gives the brand a great presence in a way that's quite hard to do on a ground level. I think we do that very well.
I think that I really love that AIA area. Like I was saying before, I mean, the Sevens is a place to come together, but the wheel is a physical space to come together. And I was just thinking that the other, I think what's happening in, you know, Hong Kong, when I first came to Hong Kong, I think I never saw anyone running. There was no one jogging. I mean, this is 20 years ago. And in China, there's the old saying, the only people who are runners is someone running away from someone else. So, but now every city's got a marathon. You know, I think what's happened is that people realise that not everyone can be a banker in this life. Not everyone's going to be great at maths, but that doesn't mean you don't have a value. And I think you can see this really flowing through, and then the government realising, the policymakers realising this is about the stability of the society. This is about social health. This is about mental health for all those people who are not going to be doing physics A1, whatever. So that's why we need the places, we need the events, we need everyone to have those conversations, I think, with the senior management at the company level to say, it's like a triple bottom line. You know, yes, you can make money, but you can also kind of build your social license to operate through these things. You can be seen to being a good actor. And I just think this is the future kind of roadmap for all kinds of brands and businesses. You can see it in China. It's happening kind of pretty major.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and it's about being visible and accessible. And I think, you know, we sit in such a unique, iconic place in Hong Kong that we kind of have a responsibility to make it more visible, more accessible, and that's what we do, and that's what the partnership really does.
This is a huge question that is very hard to answer in one go, and there are entire events built around the subject, but a lot of conversation has been about purpose today, with the Laureus people earlier on and what have you. How important, Alex, to you and the Vitality Park is that word purpose? It's a horrible question, isn't it?
I think it's a really great
yes,
one.
Yes, it's important.
Yes, it's important, Jasper. I think it's what drives us. I think having a purpose is actually, you know, sport, health, wellness, it's a massive topic. And having a purpose and having something like what we do down at the AI Vitality Park and the Vitality Hub, having purpose means that we can curate, we can cater to what people's needs are. And I think it's a really important guiding post for us, as opposed to just saying, okay, what are we going to do now? Because as Hong Kong opens back up, you know, the interest, the opportunities are endless. So how do you know what to choose? What do you cherry pick? You know, obviously, there's a phenomenal team behind the Great Entertainment Group, so everybody knows what they're doing. But if you have a purpose, if you understand your goal, I think that really gives us value, and it gives us credentials in an industry that is huge in Hong Kong, across Asia as well. So I think it's quite a key point in what we do. Yeah.
Fantastic. And same question, Ed. Does purpose matter?
Yeah, it does, but I think it matters with what you do with it, not what you say about it, right? So, I mean, I think we all hate those purpose ads, those, you know, at Cathay, it's so boring, right? I think it's better to live it out, right? There's our parent company, Swire, they have this, it's in Latin, of course, but I can't remember what that is, but it means the motto is to be rather than to be seen to be. And I think it's, you know, it's to walk the talk, what we would say in Australian maybe, to walk the walk rather than talk the talk. So it's, I think, if you have, we do have a purpose at Cathay, which is we say we want to move people forward in life. This is what we say, but it's more of like an internal mantra because that sounds very fancy to go and proclaim that. But I think that's the thread through everything that we do. We want to be a contributor and we do want to genuinely enrich people's lives. We want to make a difference. Even if it's sleeping better on the plane or a better meal, or you can have something, find the show that you're wanting to watch on the plane. But if it's also about through our capabilities, we can help kids maybe find a life through sport in school, or they can find a friend through that they couldn't otherwise do. I think that's meaningful and valuable.
Fantastic. Great answers, by the way, to a really horrible question. So well done.
That sucks, man.
Thanks, Jasper.
So final question, then, and then we can have some lunch on the terrace. But let's start with you first, Alex. But what's up next? What's exciting? What's on the horizon for the Vitality Park? Sorry, the AIA Vitality Park.
AIA Vitality Park. What's next? Do more. That's quite a simple one for us. I mean, as the Hong Kong sort of energy comes back, I think there are a lot more people invested in having exposure. The uniqueness, again, with where we are, is you can actually create a very unique event. We did it last year with Live Matters. And good plug.
That was also sponsored by Cathay Pacific. Cathay, sorry.
So it's about, expanding on what we do. The AI Vitality Hub is a success story in itself. So the idea would be to go forward and find out where we can expand across Hong Kong. One of the most unique things we do is we talk to the people of Hong Kong. We work with the trainers of Hong Kong. We work with the companies of Hong Kong. So let's bring us further out to Hong Kong. It's not as wonderful as our location is. We can stretch. We can go further. I think that's a really important part. Is that Central is beautiful, but we all know the demographic doesn't predominantly live around there. So let's expand. Let's go forward. Let's take ourselves outside and create more and just keep doing what we're doing. So that's where we're going.
And the same question for you, Ed. Aside to having a fantastic new KOL who loves Cathay, by the way, what's really exciting for you with Cathay? What's coming up on the horizon?
So on the business, for everyone who's complained about the prices, I understand. But they should be coming down as we increase the number of flights. So we're up to 80%. So at the business, we're working really hard to train cabin crew and pilots. But you understand that this has to be done, according to the schedule to keep the quality right. So that's I think the mainstay. I think in terms of the sports topic, it feels like there's so much going on. We've got the Hong Kong Sports Stars Awards, which if people haven't gotten into that, I really encourage everyone to look. We have fantastic athletes in Hong Kong. It's more than just the rugby players who are great. So those Sports Stars Awards are coming up, and our own Siobhan Hoy, who's a truly world-class athlete, is going to be there, and we have some exciting news coming up with her as well. So that's that in April, later this month. Then, of course, we've got the Olympics, which is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be tough for us this year because it's over there in Europe. Asia teams might not do as well. But I think that's just going back to my point about Asia's turning on to sport. That's really exciting. I just think it's about with tennis and Asians and Chinese and just that it just feels like there's a huge opportunity. We're just scratching the surface. So very keen to explore.
Fantastic. Well, we are unfortunately out of time, but we've talked about a resurgence. We've talked about connecting communities. We've talked about sport being the last great meritocracy. So first time I've heard that. We talked about a great partnership is about understanding what you both want. It's not just about badging the thing. There's no cookie cutter solutions. It's all about the buzz and the awareness. We talked about activation, offsetting cost. We talked about trust. Trust in a relationship is very important on both sides. Building a social license, being usable. And I think what I loved from this session was have a purpose, but do it, don't say it. So partnership does matter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Alex.